fellow book lovers, welcome back to the Bibliovert channel. My name is Jacqueline and welcome to week 3 of the massive readathon. It's kind of crazy that we're already 3 weeks into this. If you are interested in learning a little bit more about the massive readathon or maybe don't know what it is, don't worry. I have listed our website as well as our announcement video in the description box down below if you would like to check that out. So last week, one, I didn't read very much. One was a wild success, and that was Nature of the Witches by Rachel Griffin, and the other one was not so much. And it was one of my most anticipated reads of the year and was A Game of Retribution by Scarlett, Sinclair, and I gave it 1 star. So I'm hoping that this week will be better. I've really deviated from my list that I had of the books that I was going to read, and I have started reading a Draco and Hermione fanfic, and it is A Measure of a Man. So I'm reading that on my Kindle right now. I didn't realize how long it was when I downloaded it. It was like, you have 35 hours left in this book. So hopefully we'll get through that one kind of fast. But there are several other books that I'm hoping to read this week. We'll see if I actually end up getting to them. One that I do need to read for sure is A Touch of Malice, and that is for the next podcast episode that we have going on. So I'm hopefully going to read that one, A Measure of a Man. We'll see depending on how long it takes me to read. But yeah, that's this week. Also today, it's Thursday. I have an interview with an independent bookstore here in Nashville, and I am so excited and so nervous. So it's in like 2 hours. So I need to like get ready and like print out some resumes and like think of questions and all that kind of stuff. I've been prepping for the last several days. But like the day of jitters, the nerves are there for sure. So I think I'm gonna take care of some of that stuff first and then maybe get a little bit of reading in to hopefully, I don't know, calm those nerves. And then of course head over there like way too early and just sit in my car until it's ready to go in. But yeah, we'll see how this goes. I don't know. I'm so nervous, but I'm excited. It's gonna be fun. And then maybe we'll like treat ourselves to some books afterwards. Cause I mean, the interview's at a bookstore, so you may as well like buy some books, right? I don't know, could be fun. So anyway, I think it's gonna be a fun day. I hope it's gonna be a fun day. And yeah, we'll just check in later. I don't know, I'm so nervous. So I just realized that I never gave an update about the interview. I think it went really well. I don't really know if I'm quite what they're looking for, but I had a great time. I thought that they were wonderful. It was so much fun. So if I'm not a good fit, then hopefully if something else comes up in the future that would fit my interests and genres that I'm used to more in the future, then like maybe they'll keep me in mind. I don't know, but it was a lot of fun. It was a really great experience. But yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I'll keep you updated if I hear anything back or get a second round interview. I am so excited because the 24-hour readathon has officially begun and I cannot wait. Every time we do one of these, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna try and read as many books as I possibly can. I want to do one of those, I read 7 books in 24 hours. And I just know that like, I'm not cut out for that. I'm not that fast of a reader. And I have really done something stupid to certainly make sure that's not gonna happen. So I started A Measure of a Man by In a Day's 22, and I've been reading it for days, and I am at 45%, and it is so good. So I've been trying to convince myself like, okay, Jacqueline, pause literally just for 24 hours, read some other stuff, crank out some books, but like, I don't want to do anything else. I just want to read this one. It is so good. So literally, it is 13 years post-war. So Draco and Hermione are in their 30s. Draco is a father. He has a 5-year-old son, and Hermione is a healer. And she has had something traumatic happen in the the past, like over the last couple of years, I haven't gotten to the point where it's talking in detail about it yet. And so she left working at the ministry to become a healer, and now she is working with a terminal patient who is close to Draco. So she kind of like, it is slow burn. It is such slow burn, but it is so good. So the book is broken up into 3 parts, and I'm really liking the way that it's done because it is nothing, something, and then everything. For the first like 12 chapters, like they meant nothing to each other. And now I'm in the something chapters. And so they're like starting to mean something more. And then when you get to the everything, I can't wait. I'm so excited. I'm loving it. So I have 18 hours left of reading that, but that would literally be the vast majority of the 24-hour readathon. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna play by ear, see what the feelings want to do. But I do think I'm gonna keep reading it for now because I can't stop, and it's so good. It's so tender. Everything is just so tender, and it's just been wonderful. And like the friendship and the pairings that everyone has kind of like, they're not all canon pairings, obviously, because Draco and Hermione, but it's just been like sweet. It's just been so sweet, and it's making me very homesick and nostalgic. So anyway, I think I'm gonna keep reading this. I might at some point, like, I don't know, talk some sense into myself and put this one down to read a different book. One that I don't know, actually selected for the readathon, but we love mood reading, so we support it. So anyway, I'll check back in with you later. I'm so excited for today. I love 24-hour readathons. I think they're such a blast. So anyway, yeah, I'll check back in with you later. Hello. So I've made quite a bit of progress in A Measure of a Man, and I'm absolutely loving it. It's so good. I just got to such a good point, and I had to stop it for the reading sprint that we just did over on YouTube, where we, both Allie and I, started The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axio, which is this month's book buddy read, and we are going to do a Zoom chat next weekend to talk all about this book with anyone who's interested. But I made it about 60, like 58, 60 pages, and it is so fast paced. And I'm really, really liking it. This is such a slow burn, and it's not boring, but it's not like super quick and fast paced. It's much more like in the characters' minds, thinking through everything, and this one is just one thing right after another, but it has absolutely piqued my curiosity. So I'm gonna finish A Measure of a Man and then immediately jump into this one, and I am really, really excited about it. Hi, hello. Okay, time for a little update. I have 5 hours left in A Measure of a Man, and I am loving it so much. It's super, super slow burn. It's very thorough. I think one of my favorite things about it, though, is how tender it is, and like the friendships that are in this book. They're just so sweet. And I feel like, for me at least, we get to see some characters that I don't often see in fanfics that are like foreground characters, almost main characters, specifically Kingsley Shacklebolt. So it has been so fun getting to see more of his character. We also see a lot of Percy, which is actually kind of fun as well. I really like his character in this book. But I am loving it so much. So I'm kind of hoping that I'm gonna finish it today. I have a flight later on, and I'm hoping that I will get some serious work done on it on the flight. But it's just been a lot of fun. But another bit of news, I heard back from the bookstore. I did not get the job. However, the day that I interviewed, I went shopping at said bookstore, and I got quite a bit of books. So I thought I'd do a quick little haul for you to show everything that I got. And then I am packing to get on a flight in just a couple of hours. So I'm going to show you the books that I'm taking with me when I go to Texas. So first things first, I don't even even know where to start. So the first book that I picked up when I went into the bookstore where I applied is The Dutch House by Ann Patchett. And the reason why I got this one is because Ann Patchett is the co-owner of the bookstore, and I've seen this book around quite a bit, and I've heard really wonderful things about it, but I had never read it. So I decided to pick it up this time. So this story is about a family and the ins and outs and how they fall apart and come back together and all the good and the bad and the ugly. I've heard wonderful things, so I'm definitely excited to get around to reading this book. So next on the list, I kind of feel like a bit of a hypocrite because I didn't love the first book in this series. I feel like I didn't understand everything, and yet I saw the second one and I read the back and it completely captivated my interest. So I don't really know how to feel about it, but it is the sequel of For the Wolf by Hannah Whitten, and it is For the Throne. I think this is going to be a duology. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's just going to be a duology. We see the new main character, we see her quite a bit. We actually get her point of view in the first book, and I enjoyed it. It made me sad, but I enjoyed it. So I feel like for this one, especially like knowing what happens leading up to this book, I don't know. It sounds interesting though, so bear with me. It's I really, like, as I was picking it up, I was like, Jacqueline, you didn't love the first one. Like, what are you doing? And I don't know, but we got it. And I genuinely think I am going to read it, and I probably will enjoy it because I think it's a captivating story. I think I just kind of like missed some stuff in the first one, so maybe it'll explain it all in the second. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, so I got this one too. So this next one I'm actually really excited about because I've been wanting to purchase it for so long. And so when I saw it there, it just felt right. So it is Milk and Honey by Rupi Kaur. Every time I flip through or see some of her poetry, I just absolutely adore it. So I'm really excited about this one. And it's just precious. And I also love the bees. So very excited about that one. One of my favorite poets is E.E. Cummings. And this is selected poems of his. And also it's super cute. So I decided to get it, because why not? And this is going to be another one that I don't know, I love. His poetry always just feels like home. So I'm very excited about this too. Okay, so this next one I actually saw in the stack of Another Woman there, and I was like, oh, I wonder like what about it caught her eye. So I decided to pick it up, and then it made me laugh so hard. So I was like, okay, that's it, we're getting it, we have to. And we talked afterwards and it was super fun. But it is The Setup by Lizzie Dent, and basically it's about this woman named Mara. She's 31 and she's on a solo vacation impersonating a fortune teller. And this gorgeous man sits down and she tells him that he's going to be at the specific location at the end of the specific month. So she's like, okay, I have 3 months to transform myself into this like stylish, chic woman who has her stuff together. And so she has Project Mara. And basically she has a cute roommate that I'm sure throws some stuff and a wrench into her plans and everything like that. But it just absolutely tickled me. So I think that this one's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, so these next two, I really wanted to stretch myself in genres. One of them's not that big of a stretch. We'll start with that one. The other one is definitely more so of one, but I've heard that it's like a masterpiece. And the first one that I picked up is The Book of Lost Names by Kristen Harmel. I love historical fiction. I really enjoy like World War II historical fiction and Regency romance, but this one definitely caught my eye, and it is about a woman named Ava who is a librarian in Florida, kind of like, I'm assuming, in present day, and she sees in the newspaper this book called The Book of Lost Names that she has not seen in 65 years. And then I think we have a flashback back to like 1942. Her father, who's a Polish Jew, was arrested, and she has made it to a free zone, and she's a graduate student, and she then begins forging identities for Jewish people so that they can flee from the Nazi regime. But she does keep a book of all of their identities, and it's called the Book of Lost Names, as she like changes their identity to something new. So I just think that this sounds so cool that she kind of like, it seems like it might be a bit of a flashback to see back to her life when she was a graduate student in 1942, but it just like, it just sounds so good. So I'm really, really excited about this one. And I think it's just going to be really beautiful and heartbreaking. Okay, and this last one that I got is A Man Called Ove by Frederick Backman. I know that he has so many books, and I hear that each one of them is just exquisite. But for some reason, I picked up this one in particular, but it just sounds really cute. It's like about a grumpy old man. And like, he gets new neighbors, and it's a young couple with like boisterous young children, and apparently it's just tender and heartwarming and precious. So this is going to be the first of Backman's works that I read. However, if I feel like if I really enjoy this one in his writing, then I'm probably just going to like plow through his other works, because I've literally never heard a bad thing about him. So I think that like speaks loads about this one. But I'm really excited about this one. I think it'll be really interesting. And it just sounds like really tender and heartwarming. I don't know if I'm gonna get to this one during the massive readathon. We'll see if it like fits and stuff, or if I'm like in a random mood for it. But this is one that I'm excited to read. Okay, so that was the haul that I got. And now moving on to packing. I always take too many books, but here we are, taking too many books. So the first two that I'm taking are kind of like necessities. I need to read A Touch of Malice by Scarlett Sinclair. This is the third in the Touch of Darkness series. I've already read this one before. This is going to be a reread, and I did actually really enjoy this one. So we'll see if I enjoy it on a reread. But Allie and I are recording this episode sometime later on this week. So I need to be prepared for that one. So I'm taking it. I'm also taking The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axio. So I'm really excited about that. I need to get this one done. This next one, I'm actually really excited about it because this is going to be what I'm going to be doing on the airplane today. Either that or reading fanfic. But it is going through my Where's Waldo. It's for the Vaughn prompt, which is read a Where's Waldo book, which I think is still one of the funniest prompts that we have. Allie and I did a competition on one of our Instagram lives this last week of seeing who could find Waldo the fastest. So I've already finished some of it, but I'm gonna finish the rest of it on the airplane. There have been a few that have like really stumped me and I can't find them. So it might actually end up taking way longer than it should. But I'm gonna be reading this one on the airplane. I'm also going to be taking the E.E. Cummings selected poems, as well as Milk and Honey by Ruby Kaur. Both of them could fit into the Aniel prompt, which is read a short book. But I'm also taking them because they're small and they'll fit as well. So I think I'm going to take these. I'm gonna go look on my stack and see what else I'm gonna bring. Okay, and then the last one that I'm gonna bring is Stardust by Neil Gaiman. This one's also really short and was originally for my Aniel prompt, but I'm sure I can find something else that will fit in. This just seems like it's gonna be magical and just so fun. So I think I'm gonna bring this one as well. It's also really, really small. And then for the other ones, I think I'm just gonna bring my Kindle, and then we can kind of make do. I think bringing a stack of 6 books is enough, plus my Kindle. It might be a mistake, but we're doing it. So I'm not even gonna be gone that long. It's just for a couple days. So we'll see how many of these I actually get through. I mean, some of them are so short. Like, I could do these on the plane, right? Right? Maybe not. We'll see. Anyway, but the next time I check back up with you, hopefully I'll be in Texas. So I'll see you then. Hello. So, quite a bit of time has passed since my last update. Originally this video was going to be 2 separate videos. I went down to Texas this last week because my mom had a partial knee replacement and I was going there to just help out. And I don't know why I thought, oh yeah, no, you're gonna have plenty of time to like do a final update, edit the video, get it published, all that kind of stuff, no worries. You can even like go ahead and film stuff for the next video that you have to do. And that was not accurate. It was so much fun. I had such a wonderful time with my family, but it was just a little bit more busy than I don't know why I thought it was going to be. So I apologize now that it is technically 2 weeks worth of vlogs in one video. That obviously was not my original intent, but that is what it is. So I'm very sorry. But I do have some updates for you. We are now in the last week of the readathon, which is absolutely mind-blowing. I feel like the month of June went by so quickly. But first things first, I did finish the fanfic that I had been reading, which is A Measure of a Man by Days 22. I absolutely loved it. It was so good. I think the last update that I did, I said it felt like it was kind of potentially getting a little slow. I take it all back. Not the case at all. It was so incredibly good. I cried so hard. It was so beautiful. I've decided that it's going to fit into my Orinth prompt, which is read a book with found family, just because the cast of characters that we had truly made me homesick to have a community like that nearby. And it just was really, really sweet. Just so tender, so powerful and impactful. I absolutely loved it. Very, very sad that it's over, but so happy that I read it. And then the next book that I read this one on the airplane. It is Milk and Honey by Rupi Kaur. It was so good, so poignant, so powerful. I do recommend, if you want to read this collection of poetry, please know that there are trigger warnings for it. Rape and sexual assault is a very prevalent theme throughout the book. I did not know that going into it, and the first one starts off, and so it was maybe just, I wish I had known going into it so I could kind of wrap my mind around it and been prepared. However, I absolutely loved it. I think the thing that I got the most of it is the fact that she was willing to be that vulnerable and to share her experiences and to share her poetry with the world when she has experienced so much trauma. It was very humbling to read it and very honoring to get to hold it in my hands and see it. So there were definitely poems that I didn't feel like necessarily impacted me personally or had like a strong emotional experience with it. However, I loved every single bit of it. And there were so many that it was powerful and poignant and impactful for me as the reader. But like, I just can't wrap my mind around the fact that she just poured her heart into it and that we got to read it. And it was just very beautiful, very, very beautiful, very heartbreaking and very devastating to read at the same time though. So very happy that I finally read it. I definitely want to go and look for more of her works. I like the simplicity that she kind of has with her writing. It made it very easy for me to comprehend and read it, and it just felt very accessible for me. I love poetry, but I feel like sometimes when I read it, it goes over my head and I'm missing something. So it just felt very easy for me to understand, and I just really appreciated that. So the next one that I read was for the podcast. It is A Touch of Malice by Scarlett Sinclair. I like this one a whole lot more than the second one. It was a much more enjoyable read. I've read it before, but there were a lot of things that I had forgotten about it. I just really like the growth that we get to see with Persephone. She learned from her mistakes of the second book, and I really, really appreciated that, just because I really did not like the second book. So getting to see that growth was wonderful. They're much more united as a couple. There are a lot of things that happen, so I'm much, much happier with this book than the second one. So yeah, it was a good read, but again, a reread, so nothing too surprising. And then for the book buddy read this month that we had, that usually is just for our Bryce level patrons, but we've opened it up to everyone and it fits for the Rowan prompt. We read The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea by Axio. This is based on a lot of Korean mythology. And that was hands down my favorite part about this book. It was so beautiful. It was so vivid, and the imagery was just stunning. And I really, really, really liked that part about this book. I think that the only thing that I really didn't like was that it was very convenient. There's a lot of plot in this book, which I thought was great. We don't see a whole lot of character development in it, which I maybe would have liked to see just like a little sprinkling more of that. But the plot, they would be like, oh, we need to go to this place, and then no one would be guarding the door. They didn't really have to like plan or kind of like process things very much. They just went and did it and it worked out. So I kind of maybe wish that there was a bit more complexity to it. However, Allie made a really wonderful point that this book is definitely written more for like a middle grade reader, and that is, and it's written perfectly for the audience that it's written for. So as a 28-year-old, it might not have hit the same way that it would for a middle grade reader, which is wonderful. So this is definitely a book that I feel like I could recommend to people who are younger, and I really enjoyed it. There were some really touching and tender parts of the book, and I'm really, really grateful that I read it. And then lastly that I have started reading, I think as of last night, Allie and I are interviewing Rachel Griffin for the podcast on Tuesday, and she was kind enough to send us an arc of Wild as the Witch, which comes out in a couple of weeks. So I am reading that one right now in preparation for the interview. I am literally have just read the prologue, and I'm about to start the first chapter, and it is already has captivated my interest so quickly. As you know, The Nature of Witches is hands down one of my favorite books that I've read this year, and absolutely one of my favorite books that I read this month. So I am so excited to get to read another one of her works. I just think it's going to be absolutely fantastic. So excited about it, and then can't wait to get to talk to her about the books. So those are the ones that I'm working on right now. I'm kind of hopeful that maybe I'll be able to read another book before the end of the month, so I can have 3, because I am counting this bad boy for my Goodreads goal. So I'm kind of hoping that I'll do that. I do still have these 2, which is poetry from E.E. Cummings, who's one of my favorites, and then Stardust by Neil Gaiman. This one's not very long, so I could definitely maybe crank those out as well. But we'll just have to see what I'm in the mood for. But I did just want to give you an update and also apologize that I missed a video last week and that this one's going to be potentially a little bit longer because it is 2 weeks worth of videos. But yeah, we'll see how this goes. Can't wait to update you on Wild as the Witch. And yeah, I'll see you in a bit. Okay, so hi, a bit of a reading update. I've technically finished 2 books, one of which was this Where's Waldo, which I'm not gonna lie, was so freaking hard. I really struggled. I had to get Connor to help me, and I still technically didn't get every single page because it was literally a page filled with other Waldos, and you had to find the one without a sock on or without a shoe on. And I was like, no, my brain does not have the capacity for this right now. So I figured it was fine. I can still consider it read. So that one was one. It was, I'm not gonna lie, a relief when I finished it. And then the second one is Wild as the Witch by Rachel Griffin, and I finished it just a few minutes ago, and y'all, I loved it so much. It was so fun getting to read it so quickly after finishing The Nature of Witches, and it still just had that beauty, and it just made me homesick for a place that I've literally never been to, and the characters were wonderful, and there was just such a beautiful depth to them, and it was just a beauty in its simplicity as well, which I really, really loved. I wouldn't say that it had quite as much of an emotional reaction out of me that The Nature of Witches did. However, I found myself completely sucked in and enjoying every second of it, so it was so much fun. And in like 30 minutes, we get to interview Rachel Griffin for the podcast, and I am literally on cloud 9. I can't wait to just gush about how much I love her characters and how special they are. So I'm so excited about that. I can't wait to hear Allie's thoughts on the book too. Don't worry, it will be spoiler free because the book does not come out until August 2nd. But needless to say, it was a lot of fun and just such a great way to kind of like, I don't know, get close to ending the readathon. I thoroughly, thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a 5 out of 5 star read for me. But I have to go prep for the interview. I have to get her out of the room because she will be chaos incarnate. But yeah, I'm so excited and I can't wait. Hello, gorgeous.
Hi.
What did we just do?
We just interviewed Rachel Griffin, author of The Nature of Witches and Wild is the Witch.
And how did it go?
She was wonderful. I knew she would be.
It was
Sure.
so much fun. Okay, so you met her at C2E2 last year, right?
I did. I met her. She was on a panel with Scarlett Sinclair and Maxim Martineau. So super fun. Loved her. Knew immediately that she was going to be one of the authors that I wanted to interview this year. And I walked away knowing confidently that you would love her and that you guys would be best friends if you were given the chance. So I'm so excited that we finally got to talk to her, and she was a ray of sunshine, and I'm so glad you finally got to meet her.
Truly one of the sweetest. I mean, we both cried during the interview, so like if that says anything. It's so tender.
Wonderful.
It was so much fun. Oh, I don't think I'm gonna stop smiling about it for a while.
No, my cheeks hurt.
So I got all the way through editing this video only to realize that I don't have an outro. So hello from editing Jacqueline, but I just wanted to take a second to say thank you so much for participating in this year's Massive Readathon. We had such an incredible time, from the reading sprints to the 24-hour readathon to the book buddy read and our Discord chat. None of this could have happened without y'all, and it has just been the absolute best time. So please let me know what books you read this month by dropping them down in the comments down below. Also, we would love to connect with you on Instagram, so definitely check us out at the Bibliovertpodcast. We love talking about books, so please feel free to slide into our DMs. We're always looking to make new bookish friends. We also have a Patreon, so feel free to check that out as well if you're looking for a bookish community. It is just so much fun. We have a monthly book buddy read, we have Patreon exclusive episodes. It's just a really great time all together. And then also we have a podcast called the Bibliovertpodcast, so if you would like to check those episodes out, we're on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and Google Play. But I hope you have a fantastic week, happy reading, and I'll see you next time. Bye!